Well, good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight? I'm a few minutes early because we're trying to work with a bunch of elements here. It's 5:44 and it's official. Jason, I don't like this spot. Yeah. There's 4 bars over there, right? Over at the top over there? Yep. 4? Yep. I think we're taking a walk right off the bat. First of all, just let me double check. We're 5 by 5 and we're good. I've got how many bars here? I can't even tell. Oh, I see. When I'm live streaming, I don't even know how many bars I have. So Adam says we're oh good. We got a lot of 5 by 5s, but we're going to lose the sun behind Saddle Rock, and I'm down in a hole which I didn't think I was going to be in. Jason, I don't know. We're going to stay here for a little bit. Thanks. On my tippy toes. So let me tell you what's going on. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're a few minutes early. It's 5:46. If I haven't said that already, we're going to start our program on Wenatchee Geology at the top of the hour, 6 p.m. And we're up here on a hiking trail above Wenatchee. Saddle Rock, if you know the location. We're not at the top of Saddle Rock. And I'm saying we because I met a fan who's been with us in the live comments every time. Met him for the first time an hour ago. He's right over here. His handle is MotoJW. If you're looking for an old friend, MotoJW, in the live comments, he's not commenting because he lugged a ladder up on this trail with me, and I knew that he lived in Wenatchee, and he's got a drone. He does spectacular drone photography. And if you're wanting something to do before we begin our program at 6 o'clock, open up another window, go to Facebook, MotoJW, MotoJW photography. You'll find him. Or Instagram, MotoJW. You'll be amazed. And I've been amazed at what he has done. He's a hobby guy. He lives in one of those houses. And I've gotten to know him a little bit here in the last hour or so. And we've been dealing with wind up here. We've been dealing with sun position. It's about to slip behind Saddle Rock. So I'm looking west and you're looking kind of to the southeast. That's the Columbia River. But I'm blinded temporarily. What the heck? Hang on. I'm just really surprised that it looks so different in live stream form versus my regular camera form. So maybe we'll just go. You're going to buffer a little bit. Wind is picking up. What the heck, man? This is better. You want to come around and say hi? You see yourself in there?
Hey everybody.
Jason.
We're trying. We're trying. So, happy to be here and help out. Hopefully we can keep the ladder together.
Your back is going to be sore tonight. We got a lightweight aluminum ladder, so it's kind of jumping around in the wind a little bit. Yeah, I'm looking at Saddle Rock behind you right now, and we got about maybe 15 minutes before that sun slips behind there. But I at least can see your comments a little better now, and I want you to enjoy this view. So let me let you enjoy the view, soak it in. You're looking live, Columbia River, and I'm looking at some of your comments, so I'm going to ask you again here. We're 5x5, Robert. You're in your cardboard house. I also have an extra little protection on the phone. The sound is great. Thank you for that. Image is superb. One of the surprises for us is that we assumed that since we're right up on top of Wenatchee, we'd have 4 bars easily. We're both Verizon guys. This episode of Nick from Home brought to you by Verizon. You gotta love it. And yet, there's a problem when we have great coverage cell-wise, we're in the windiest spots. It's too windy to really operate. And I asked Jason to bring his drone to do a little demonstration for us, especially since I don't have the legs to get to the top of Saddle Rock. So we're gonna take a little walk with the gizmo after we do a little bit of talking here. But a special bonus feature is having Jason fly his drone up above Saddle Rock. If the wind stays reasonable, if the wind gets worse, we might have to ixnay that. But we'll be able to fly around on top of Saddle Rock and give you a good sense of that and other beautiful views. And we're confident that this knob that's 100 yards away, which is a little windier, is going to have very strong cell coverage, and I assume we'll be in good shape. So we'll do some live Q&A. I do have some content for you. It's not a total gimmick show. Still got that weird. All right, let me read a few more things. I've got 8 minutes before we get rolling. We got old friends here. We got Mike. Oh, there's a Jason. Wait a minute. Wait. No, that's different Jason. Okay, good. Mike, Dale, Big Dale, still alive. We'll get into the content soon enough. Steve Childers is from Delaware, but raised out here. George Issaquah. We got almost 500 folks. People are trickling in. LOL. Hello, Grandpa Carl. Bainbridge Island, Red Deer, Alberta. Mike, you're a regular. I need to look up where Red Deer is one of these days. Kathy in Brisbane. You know, I'm usually out in the field with my kind of shouting voice, especially if it's windy, but I'm starting to think I don't need to. You guys could hear me talking to Andrew in the chairs last night before we started. I was basically whispering, so continue to be amazed by this iPhone. 5x5, thank you. Perfect volume, that's great, Misty, thank you. Austria, hey Ralph, I'm glad you're awake in the middle of the night. New Zealand, Calgary, Australia, Dakota from Sapphire Coast, Australia. The sound is very good, thank you, Letha Lee. Oh yeah, it is Third Person Thursday. Jason, Nick Zentner is really pleased to meet you. Third Person Thursday. Thanks for the reminder. Let me beat that to death and annoy as many people as possible. Nick Zentner aims to annoy as many people as possible. You're in Virginia, that's wonderful. If anybody's watching in Wenatchee, we're parked down at the Saddle Rock Trailhead. And happy to visit with you afterwards. We'll keep our distance, but if you want to come over and say hi, that'd be wonderful. I'm going to use this view as much as I can because we've got it. And you are in your apartment somewhere and just wanting a little bit of open space. And we'll be using, can't quite see now, it's behind the comments, but we're going to use a couple of these knobs. You see these kind of, actually, is that knob in the frame? Can you see a knob? I think you can, can't you? On the, is that the right part of your frame? There's a little kind of bare rock knob. You can see that? Good. See, what if we do a little more? We're going to lose some if we go. Yeah, that's kind of pleasant. We get some of these grasses in there. That's rooster comb. Thank you. Yeah, I do have some, what I hope is interesting content for you. Kind of nice right now. What is this shadow? I got this weird. Okay. That's your Cozy Fort box. I need a name for that. I need a name for the cardboard box to keep you out of the wind. We got 3 minutes before we start, but let me give you a quick note. I know I showed, I'm so scattered. Didn't I just show you the schedule? I want to make sure that you know that tonight is really part one. I'm going to be back over here in Wenatchee on Saturday morning. And it's a particularly special episode that I'm very excited to share with you. You won't forget it. So we're going to do a traditional geology talk about the bedrock here in Wenatchee and the Ice Age floods here in Wenatchee. And then if you tune in Saturday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific time, in the morning, Saturday at 9, Randy Lewis will be with you live. And he's a magical fellow. And he'll be talking about many of these same landmarks, but from a completely different perspective. I tell stories, he tells stories. Stories aren't the same, but in many places the stories overlap. Anybody got a carcass of a dead animal we can drape over the bottom of this ladder to keep it steady? Anybody? Anybody? Carcass? Dead animal? Bueller? Pretty wild. We sat here, laid in the grass for a half an hour, and then I turned the thing on. It's like, we gotta move it. It's almost better not to plan. It never goes according to plan. Nick Zentner drinking water. Third person Thursday. Thanks for joining us. I got 1 minute according to my watch. I'll be back in a minute. Peer pressure now, so if it's too windy, you're like. What a great story. Yeah, I crashed my drone. You want to see it? Well, a pleasant good evening to you all. Welcome to Wenatchee, Washington, USA. We've hiked up to this vantage point. We are in the vicinity of Saddle Rock, which overlooks Wenatchee, but we're not at the top. And Wenatchee's high point here, Saddle Rock, is behind you. And we're going to take a walk in a few minutes, and you will see a backlit Saddle Rock. You will see beautiful light over the downtown Wenatchee area, the mighty Columbia, which you can see, which is flowing away from you downstream from Wenatchee. But we've picked this spot for 3 reasons. We have cell coverage. We've got 4 bars, I think. We're out of the wind more or less in this little swale, and we are able to see a few little knobs, a few bedrock knobs. So on the skyline over there, I assume you can see it, pretty good light on Rooster Comb. And that's a certain kind of bedrock. I'll be coy about it for just a second. Down low, you can see a rather significant, almost kind of a triangle-shaped bedrock knob. You can see that. That's called Wenatchee Dome. And then beyond the Columbia River, if you've got great eyes, I'm not going to zoom for you because I can't when I'm live streaming, but there's a couple of very important landmarks in the river, just tiny little milk duddy looking things, but that's bedrock sticking out of the Columbia River. Even with Rock Island Dam backing up a bunch of water, we still have rock, and that will factor into tomorrow morning with Randy Lewis. Malaga landslide, blah, blah, blah. But the game plan here is to talk about Saddle Rock and its neighbors. So I mentioned that I'm here with a gentleman by the name of Jason, who is a gifted hobbyist with photography with his drone. Let me give you an example. Trying to stay out of the shadow, trying to minimize the glare. Pretty good. You can get a sense that this is Jason flying the drone essentially from his house, he just told me, on a winter morning, capturing Saddle Rock. So this thing, you're at this thing right now. You're not at the tippy top, but that thing is right behind you. And I'm starting to lose the light already, but when I totally lose the light behind Saddle Rock, that'll be our cue to start moving. Okay? I have fundamental geologic questions for us tonight. What kind of rock is in Saddle, Rooster Comb, Wenatchee Dome? The answer is mostly rhyolite. Rhyolite. Oh, okay, so that's volcanic, that's lava. That's true. But the age of the rhyolite at Wenatchee Dome is 44 million years old. And that's a date that was first published in the late 1980s by a PhD student at the University of Washington named Jacob Margolis, who was training to become a gold minerals geologist, and that's been his career since the late 80s. And that date of 44 million years for Wenatchee Dome, again, I'm talking about this thing down just beyond the white kind of garage, confirmed with a more precise uranium lead date, 44 million years old. So if you've been with us before talking about ages of volcanoes and why we have certain magmas coming up at certain times, that should be a question mark to you. Why would we have 44 million year old rhyolite lava, sometimes andesite lava, sometimes even gabbro, igneous intrusions essentially, coming up into this Wenatchee area? That's something I did not know anything about 2 years ago. I've known a little bit more about it in the last year, but there are still fundamental questions. My biggest question is the gold of the Wenatchee area. So there's been major gold mining right there at Wenatchee Dome, major tunnels, pulling out millions of dollars worth of gold until the early 90s, and silver, I might add. Are these volcanic rocks here at Wenatchee with the gold connected to the gold over at Liberty? And Liberty, you might remember, is where Rob Reppin, the gold miner, came to my backyard on a particularly cold night a couple months ago and talking about gold over there. Now, as the crow flies between Wenatchee and Liberty, it's not much of a flight. I should have looked it up. I kind of forgot. Maybe 30 miles, maybe 20 miles. And yet nobody geologically has made specific connections between the mineralization at Liberty and the mineralization here. Now, it would help to have more work done on these igneous intrusions. Now, it's official. Is that sun behind Saddle Rock already, or is it just behind a cloud, he asks himself. Nick Zentner wonders if he's permanently in the shade here. If I am, I think Nick Zentner might be moving. But Nick Zentner, in the meantime, is going to go to a couple of diagrams. It's Third Person Thursday. So I've already showed you this wonderful drone photo taken by Jason. I had Jeff Tepper come over here with me last summer. Jeff Tepper is a igneous geochemist from the University of Puget Sound. And he was looking for new rocks to get samples of to then do some high precision geochronology on. And I said, hey man, how about you come over? We'll drive over to Wenatchee. We'll use some sledgehammers. We'll get some rock off of Saddle Rock. Then we'll go over to Castle Rock, which I'm going to show you in a second. Let's get some samples off of Castle Rock. And, I talked to Ralph Dawes. He said it's pretty, the rock's pretty beat up. It's pretty altered. I wonder if we can get good dates. He says, well, I think if we can get some good zircons, we can get some good dates. So, long story short, there are some brand new unpublished dates from Jeff Tepper and his students at UPS from Saddle Rock and Castle Rock. Guess what the number is? Pretty much 44 million years old. So you heard it here first. The rock of Wenatchee Dome, Saddle Rock, Castle Rock, all 44 million years old. And I'll make it quick because I think we want to do some wandering here since this is such a beautiful spot. But the idea here in the Wenatchee area is we have two distinctly different batches of magmas that have intruded up through sedimentary material. We have what I'm just calling casually the Wenatchee Pinnacles intrusions, and that's the stuff that I've given you 3 dates for now, between 48 and 41 million years old. But those dates need to be better. They need to be more precise, in addition to the good dates we have from Tepper and this grad student I can't remember who came up with the high precision date that confirmed Margolis's date. But there's also some intrusions nearby. Some of the Wenatchee people know the Horse Lake area, the Horse Lake Mountain, the Horse Lake Road. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but Horse Lake is a name. And there's some intrusions there too. And you're like, okay, well, let me give me a sense of where these intrusions are. Nick Zentner, you're in the shade, but maybe it's actually pretty good to eliminate glare for some of these documents. So Nick Zentner holds his spare papers between his knees to use both hands and show you, here's downtown Wenatchee, and here are some hand-colored penciled marks of where we have batches of magma intruding. And most of these spots are actual topographic pinnacles. Now, Nobody knows the precise date of Rooster Comb, but until proven otherwise, we can probably assume that rhyolite/andesite of Rooster Comb is also 44 million years. Now, there have been some geologists in the area working. It's official. We're moving, Jason, in about less than 3 minutes. Just for fun. Without the gizmo, we're going to move the frickin' ladder. Roland Tabor, remember that book I got as a gift a couple days ago? He came in and published some maps and showed, again, these amazing intrusions of magma through sedimentary rock. It's mostly chumstick rock, which is equivalent to the Roslyn Formation, if you happen to know the area. Here's another date before we move the whole kit and caboodle here. Would you mind gathering these papers, Jason, if you don't mind, and tossing them in this bag? We'll just kind of throw this stuff in my bag. We're going to move. It's too dark here. Here's another map. This just for me. I didn't even know the place names until last summer very carefully. I drove around with David Jakes, who's a retired medical doctor here, who was involved in setting much of this land aside for hiking. And he helped me just like, well, that's Saddle Rock, that's Rooster Comb, that's Wenatchee Dome, that's Black Thumb, etc. And so learning those places and then working with maps from Randy Greshams and others, we can see how many of these pretty mysterious blobs of magma are coming up to the surface. You don't really have a lot of that over at Liberty. You definitely don't have a lot of it easily accessible in Ellensburg. Okay, this may be a dumb decision, but Jason has, thank you Jason, has taken all my papers, put them in my blue backpack from Arc'teryx. This episode of Nick from Home brought to you by Arc'teryx Outfitters. You gotta love it. Osprey backpacks, you gotta love it. Leaving that stuff, leaving the gizmo for the moment. I think I'm just going to carry you and we'll see how bad the buffering is. Nope. Here's the ladder. Okay. I'm going to grab the gizmo. I'm going to strap you into the gizmo, and we're going to do some walking. We're going to plan B pretty quickly. We got to get to some 4-bar country with some sun. So Dale, hang on now, you're going to get dizzy. Okay, close your eyes if you're a motion person. You're going away for just a second. Hello, you're back. You're in the gizmo. Double tap. Like a boss, right between the eyes. I'm flipping you around and we're walking. You're going to see Jason. This will be a thrill. Jason with a ladder, you poor guy. All right. That's Saddle Rock, with the sun setting behind it. I might lose you here for just a second, but I want to get over to this knob that's in the sun and just enjoy these views before we lose the light. It looks like you're still with me. Are you buffering at all? I'm going behind this knob where I think we might have some cell problems. Oh, we're not buffering? Good. Okay. Well, let me swing up before we, let me swing up and get, if we're not buffering, let me give you another nice view here. So obviously we're looking into the sun. The sun is starting to set behind Saddle Rock, but I want to get over to a spot where we have some good natural light. Test for you. How old is the rock that you're looking at right now? I'll wait. There's a delay. Looking for a number. There it is, Jim. Debbie, good job. Pretty windy, Jason. Oh, there's always a test. All right. Very strong wind right now, but I'm going to proceed. Actually, let me just pause and ask you. I assume we're doing okay video-wise. The audio is probably bothered by wind, but not too bad. Can you give me a great or terrible as far as wind noise? Plenty good, good audio. Okay, I'm just gonna not think about that. I've got not only the sponge over the microphone, but a thing that arrived by Amazon today, I cut off a little reservoir tip. All right, why did I even say that? All right, let's move on. Okay, so we're looking upriver now, and I'm just kind of cutting to plan B with my approach here, because I wanted to make sure that you got a good look at this without an interruption of some sort. And then we're going to try a couple other things where I can maybe keep the good light, but get to a more wind protected place. You're looking north now, right over a large portion of the city of Wenatchee, and the Columbia River is coming at you, and then I can kind of follow maybe. There's some power lines in the way, but what the heck. Now maybe Nick Zentner can block the wind a little bit for you using his massively broad shoulders. He's such a specimen. And even come over to get out of the wind a little bit more. And now we're looking pretty much at the same view that we had. Wenatchee Dome is the big feature there. Rooster Comb. In the distance, the Malaga landslide came down and blocked the Columbia River, Rock Island Dam, the mouth of Moses Coulee in the far horizon, puffy clouds. All right, we did kind of get out of the wind, didn't we? Now, I'm totally improvising right now, but what the hell? Sorry, Patrick. If we look behind those pines, you can see nice light, and that was a major gold operation until the early 1990s. And I need to read more about the depths of the tunnels, about the kind of gold, the production. Of course, much of that's proprietary information, and so difficult to get that information. But maybe I can find the right person or two, since the mining operation is done, to get that information. And I really would love desperately in the next 10, 15 years to convince, you remember, were you with us last night? We had Andrew Sadowski, a field mapper for the Washington Geological Survey. He's confined pretty much to his current project, which is in the Kittitas Valley, and working on his quadrangles. Those are, 7.5-minute quadrangles, 15-minute quadrangles. Many of you were hung up on the word quad last night. It simply just means a map area, a pretty conventional map area to cover geologically. But Andrew is sufficiently motivated to map in here and to really try to work from Liberty over here to Wenatchee and get new dates, new maps, new detail using his techniques. And you might be surprised that that hasn't been done already, but it really hasn't. And part of the problem is many of these rocks that are essentially Eocene in age, and they're tied to the Challis Magmas story of the subducting spreading ridge. And if you're lost right now, you might have to go back and look at a live stream we did called Pacific Northwest Tectonics. But we were talking about a whole crazy batch of magmas that were widespread throughout the Pacific Northwest and even as far east as Wyoming, that are all coming up at the same time. And I'm telling you, one of the main messages tonight is that these rocks you're looking at, these spires, these knobs, are not a Cascade story. I know we're close to the Cascades. I know they're volcanic. But these bedrock knobs are a Challis Magma story. And that is really starting to become a known story. And more specifically, Jeff Tepper, if you recall, has a model where the old ocean plate that used to subduct beneath our area offshore of Washington broke in two. And a piece of that old subducting plate started to sink and roll back. And as it rolled back, a bunch of deeper mantle material came to the surface. And it's starting to look like that's the source of many of these magmas. And you're like, huh? I can't picture that. And I agree with you. How are you supposed to picture that? The guy's just talking into a phone and you can't even see him. Well, it's improv time. I'm still working with these buttons to know that I got to go opposite of what I want to do. If I go, I'm going to continue down here, I think, Jason. Are you still thinking you might fly? Gonna try. I think we'll just do a little spontaneous hike this way. You want to go in front of us? That'll be a nice perspective. You can basically point out your house too. Why not? So I've been a fan of Jason's for so long. He posts so regularly. For a while there, he was posting a new photo every day. And every shot is better than the last one. And I figured he was a professional photographer, and turns out he works hard as a engineer at a data processing center, something like that. Can you correct me? Data center. So he just loves to get that drone up in the air. Especially Saddle Rock, which is so handy to his house. Hang on, I gotta concentrate for a second. It's just a thrill to meet him. Where do you live, Jason? Okay, we got the orchard, and so you're on the far side of the orchard?
Far side of the orchard.
Yeah.
White Subaru on the street.
Okay.
That's my car.
Okay. Nice. So I mentioned David Jakes, who's been in Wenatchee for more than 50 years, and he used to come over to Ellensburg to listen to some geology talks, and I got to know him that way. And he was part of the group that set a bunch of this land aside, so I think I'm going to stop. You go ahead, Jason, out to the point. There was amazing foresight to take a bunch of this foothills land. So in other words, there's pretty incredible neighborhoods closely packed, and then suddenly you're out of town and you're into all these hiking trails that we are enjoying this evening. But it's all thanks to that work. People buying land, setting it aside, buying more land, setting it aside. And these are very popular. Yeah, some of you are naming the land trust. I can't remember what it is, so thank you. All right, this is not much of a different view. I guess I will, again, continue to freelance. It's Freelance Thursday now. Across the Columbia is East Wenatchee, where Jason works. Actually, Jason, what's your social security number? Let me get that one out too. That's enough. That's enough on Jason's life. But what you're looking at on the far horizon is German chocolate cake. So you remember the basalt lavas, the flood basalts came out of the ground down near Idaho and flowed west. And right here, this is the end of the line. There is no basalt on this side of the river, so you can go a little bit this way. It's a nice place to see where the German chocolate cake layers came from eastern Washington, flowed into your frame, pushing the Columbia River. This is actually a great spot to see it. And the Columbia River was pushed to the margin of this incredible German chocolate cake. And as soon as we cross the border, or cross the river, we're into the Squacain Biotech. Oh my God, we're leaving. You got blown right off your cradle there. So I'll tell you what. It was Sunday when I announced the schedule. I looked at the weather forecast. It's like Thursday is going to be dead calm and perfect. And I'm like, great. I'm going to go over to Wenatchee on Thursday. It's going to be dead calm. Well, it's not. Now, a little bit out of the wind, still got some sun. I'm going to put you to work. Would you mind standing here and holding this thing? Kind of being a cameraman, essentially. And you can kind of tell me if I'm in the frame or not. I'm going to try to hold up a few things. Is this the smart way to do this? Let's see. It'd be helpful if I could see myself. Well, of course it would be helpful if I see myself. Let's... yeah, can you hold it like right there, Jason? Thank you. Oh. I'm kidding, by the way, if you think I've lost my whatever. I want to show you some maps, since we still have some light here. And then we're going to walk a little bit more, and Jason's going to do a demo of his flying. So this gold story is amazing over at Liberty. So Wes Engstrom has put together these private publications, meaning they're not available for general consumption. But he's a retired Boeing engineer who lives in Liberty and has put together, he's very good with graphics. And so over in Liberty, he's got his kind of working models, not as a trained geologist now, he's an engineer, but he continues to kind of work with the idea that maybe there's some sort of volcanic caldera over at Liberty. And the blue agates might be part of this story, etc. I'm not sharing professional work now with you. I'm sharing hobbyists who have the bug, they love geology, and they want to take some observations and put them together. So there obviously are Eocene volcanic rocks over at Liberty. The question is, how do those deposits work their way over here to the Wenatchee area? If you go even further west than Wes, there's another Wes. You ever heard of a little town called Roslyn? It's famous for its coal beds, but not far from Roslyn, above Lake Cle Elum, Again, not that far if you go over Settle Rock and start flying like a crow. You can be introduced to a gentleman, another Wes. This is Wesley Craven. And Wesley has come in and visited with me over the years. Very fun guy to listen to, talk with. He's a gold miner near Roslyn. He's got gold. He's got operations. He's got rocks. I don't know what kind of rocks he's got. I don't know if his hydrothermally altered, kind of bleached out looking rocks. Now we're almost to Roslyn, Washington. This could all be part of the same story. Wesley Craven, Wes Engstrom, Rob Reppin, and some of the folks who have done gold work here in the Wenatchee area. Now, you go, well, why don't you just follow it then? If you're connecting the dots and realizing there's a bunch of commonalities with the Eocene geology and the volcanic and the precious metals that are kind of in a line between Lake Cle Elum, Liberty, and here, why don't you just continue that way? You know the answer, don't you? There's a German chocolate frickin' cake that's buried everything. So if you're a gold person, there's gold right over my shoulder. There's gold right over there. It's just under a mile worth of basalt. So that adds to me to the allure of this, because we're really just at the fringe. Remember, we're just at the edge of this massive flood basalt province, and as soon as we get out of the cake, we got all this incredibly valuable gold and silver within these rocks that are roughly between 50 and 40 million years old. Poorly studied, poorly correlated. I think that is a prime suspect for more work, and I hope it happens with Andrew Sadowski and others. Okay, it's 6:30. I've got some Ice Age stuff I want to talk about here as well. I'll say one quick thing right now. You're looking in a major river valley that was completely filled with Ice Age floodwater. More than once. But the biggest flood for sure that came down this river valley, I'm talking about a Missoula flood, was 18,000 years ago. And the evidence, there's a lot of evidence, but the main evidence for that 18,000 year flood are ice rafted erratics that got dropped high in these hills where you had water of a maximum depth, brown water, with icebergs, with boulders riding on the icebergs, and the icebergs worked their way up into a quiet area. How's your arm?
Good.
Okay. So here's Stev Ominski, who I've talked about on a number of occasions. Stev watches some of these. Stev is down outside of Portland on the slopes of Mount Hood. Here's a painting by Stev giving us a really nice visual of vantage downriver. But this could easily work for Wenatchee as well. And the question then is, okay, well, not everything was underwater, was it? Almost. When we got set up right here before we laid in the grass and started shooting the shit and talking about life, Jason and I, my good friend Jason and I said, you got a way to figure out what our elevation is here. And he's got, what did you use, a phone or a... And the elevation here is about 1,400 feet above sea level. Where we're standing right here, 1,400 feet. And the high water mark for the biggest Ice Age flood over the Wenatchee area, 1,610 feet, 200 feet higher than where we are now. I think I've showed this map to you once before. It's a custom map that I had made by Jennifer Hackett in Ellensburg, menashtashmapping.com. And the gold stars, if it's not fuzzy for you, if you're actually sharp, each gold star, can you get your bearings now? I'm not flipping you off. Wenatchee is here. I can't really see what I'm doing now. Yeah. Wenatchee's here, and here's a massive Ice Age flood coming down the Columbia before the Okanagan lobe gets in place, if you happen to know the Ice Age flood story. So the major Missoula flood can come down the Columbia and come down over Wenatchee, and there's so much water that a bunch of the water actually backs up the Wenatchee River Valley all the way to Leavenworth. But the precision I want you to see here is that we have these gold stars that have been mapped out by Bill Long from the Forest Service back in the 80s. He hiked every one of these places, not only here, but going up the Wenatchee as well, looking for erratics, looking for basically white rocks that don't belong here. And they were brought down the Columbia by the Missoula floods. So we're going to get Jason warmed up here in just a bit. He's left his, oh, you got it on your pack. Do you want to go back over there to get rolling? So why don't you head over there if you don't mind, and we'll come visit you in just a bit. Thank you. You can watch Jason go away. There goes Jason. So Jason's going to go kind of find a spot to get his drone set up. He's going to kind of get fired up. He's going to test the wind again, but I think there's no turning back now. You can't say no now, right? You're pot committed at the moment. All right. And so I would like Jason to fly for us. He's going to fly his drone. And if this works, I'm going to use my phone. Well, first of all, we'll watch him lift his drone if you've never seen that. Maybe he'll answer a few questions on how to fly a drone. And he's legal here, by the way, in case you're worried about that. He knows all the rules. But what I really want him to do is get up above Saddle Rock with his drone. And the plan is I'm going to use this phone to have you guys see into his iPad so we can actually see some pictures instead of hiking to the top of Saddle Rock. Nick Zentner says we're flying. We're flying. But the light continues to improve, don't you think? And we're out of the wind right now. And I assume since you're still commenting that we're still doing okay with visuals, I might answer a few questions right now, since we're really improvising now. I knew the light would be decent this time of night, so we're going to continue to work with that. With something you see in the frame here, do you have any questions about what you see in the frame? And we'll do a few impromptu questions just at the moment. And then I'll go find Jason. Anybody want to ask anything here? Got about 1,000 people. I will, Jamie, I'll show Saddle Rock when we head over walking towards Jason. He's kind of over there. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I came on purpose.
You did?
I did. I was down at my house and I saw you were live.
Oh, good.
Wenatchee, I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. What's your name?
Well, my name is Julie and I teach geology at Valley Academy, and I have never studied geology before, but I've been watching your videos.
Oh, good.
And between you and Khan Academy, I kind of got it figured out.
Well, Julie, you can get off script now. Thank you for reading the words that I wrote for you. I'm just kidding. Hey, Jason is over there. If you want to join with us for a while, we're gonna watch him kind of lift his drone in just a second. Or if you want.
I'll stay out of your way. I just really wanted to tell you thank you personally. I was actually composing something in my head because I was listening to your podcast on how you are up here in the field and everybody else is down there in their hole and you link it all together, and I love that.
Well, thank you, Julie. Thank you. Well, let's visit some more. I'm happy to.
You help, and I'll just stay out of your way.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Okay, any questions? Her mic isn't working. Yeah, you missed all the good stuff. And remember, these are going to go fast now. I only have like 2 comments. Is there a glacial gap in the frame? Okay, thank you. So there's no ice, no history of ice in this view. Ice Age floods, for sure, but no ice itself. So that gap on the horizon looks like a gap, but it's really just a place where the Columbia River's taking a right-hand turn. And that's the mouth of Moses Coulee down there, another major Ice Age flood area. Cody says, why did the gold mining stop? Good question. Don't know. I'll have to look into that. Maybe somebody watching has some inside scoop on the gold history here and why they stopped. I assume it's just the price of gold thing and didn't pay to keep drill. I don't know though. Ice came to Wenatchee, I'm sure. I disagree with you. There's no evidence for that. No evidence of glacial moraines, but Ice Age floods for sure. Why was the flood deeper here? Thank you, Sean. Can I look upstream? I think I can. Yeah. So just imagine you're an Ice Age flood coming down that valley that you see on the distance there. That's a narrow constriction. That's water coming down from the Chelan area. I mean, you're pretty confined. And it's still kind of confined through here. I don't know how to give you a sense of scale except to say that pretty much all those houses you see on the other side of the river are on a huge flood bar. It's called the Pangbourne Bar. And yes, some Clovis points were found on the top of that Pangbourne Bar back in the 80s to give us a date that there was human activity 13,000 years ago on top of that bar. But Sean's asking about why so much water here. I guess the best answer, Sean, is we had a major draining of Glacial Lake Missoula, and there was no reason to spread that water out in a bunch of different channels. All that water from Glacial Lake Missoula followed the Columbia all through here, and therefore we've got plenty of work. Brogan says we got some buffering problems. Everybody else having problems? If not, I'm going to walk towards Jason right now. We good or we having trouble? I see a bunch of 5x5, so maybe it's Brogan, maybe you got a problem there. Okay, I'm going to put my backpack on. I only got one hand. Hey, Julie, you still there? Come on over. No, you're fine. You're fine. I need some help. I only got one hand here. Yeah. I'll stay away from you. Would you mind putting those papers in my pack so that I can?
My honor. I really am just such a fan. You are a real rock star.
Well, thank you. I can go ahead and throw that on my pack. And yeah, let's walk up and find Jason. So you teach geology where, did you say?
At Valley Academy.
Is that a school in Wenatchee?
Yeah, it's part of the Wenatchee School District.
Okay. And a bunch of natural sciences or just the geology or?
Mostly natural sciences. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Environmental studies, geology, zoology.
And Khan Academy's been helpful, huh? They've got some specific things that help what you're trying to do? Oh gosh. Yeah.
I've been able to share your videos and link everything together. And our guiding question has been, why is it Washington flat?
Oh, nice.
And so that's going to be my final exam.
Oh, good. Gee, I don't know how I'd answer that. Why isn't Washington flat? Yeah.
Weird.
All right. Okay. Well, I see your comments are still rolling, so I assume we're functional. I think when we get closer to the base of Saddle Rock, we're going to lose our coverage. But I think Jason and I did enough scouting around up here. Julie and Jason. Julie and Jason. Here you go, James Earl. Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay, before you lift off, are you kind of ready to lift off maybe? Would you mind answering a couple of my questions? What do you have in your hand there, and what kind of drone do you have?
Well, this is the controller. It's got the iPad hooked up to it.
Okay.
First person live view.
Okay.
It's a DJI Phantom 4 Pro drone. Definitely not the newest drone, but it's one that I use. It takes great shots. I've used it for a couple years. It's been reliable.
Okay.
Handles the wind well. It's good for today.
Good. Well, this will be a real test for it, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you flown in this much wind before?
A couple times.
Okay.
Got in trouble once, but
Oh. Losing connection a little bit, you mean?
losing connection and getting blown around a bit.
Yeah.
But this should be good.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I'm just going to pull back a little bit, and we'd love to kind of hear and see you lift off, and the light should be good on the back side of saddle, don't you think?
So I think what I'll do is I'll fly up, kind of up above. Should be able to see everything, spin around, get the view.
Good.
It'll be pretty good.
Good. All right. Well, we'll test my skills here to follow you, but I want to get the lift off here.
Okay, tell me you're ready.
I'm ready, man.
Keep going around the corner.
Oh, yeah. So there it goes. If you've never seen a drone fly before, it's kind of a thrill. Just to me, the audio of the thing's just like a giant mosquito going away. And so we don't have a great view of saddle now with the lighting. We've got about the worst view of saddle you can imagine, lighting wise. But if I come down over your shoulder, let's see, yeah. Now we got a little bit of a glare. How can what if you stay right there. Not bad. Could be better though. How do I'm gonna get my, hey Julie.
Yeah.
Got another job for you. Thank God you're here.
I'm happy to help you.
Can you manage to get that blanket out of that box up there? It's kind of crammed in. You can even take a couple straps off if you need to. Good Lord, I got directing people left and right here. It's not my deal. Thank you. Are we able to do this? Hey, Julie.
Doing our best.
Oh, this is so cool.
Would you hold that there? Thank you.
Can you see it? Can you make it
we
out at
still
all?
got a glare, but oh God, yes.
What if I, hold on, what if I...
How about, can you kind of be like a cape for him around the back of him? Can you
All the way
actually,
around
yeah,
or-
we got a glare coming out of his, I got this here. Like that. Good, we'll hold it right here.
Really social distancing.
Yes, you're doing great.
Getting the high wind warnings.
God dang, man. Do you know what direction we're looking?
We're looking straight on.
You're looking towards us? Oh, no.
Towards Saddle
You're
Rock.
still, we're still.
I'm still in front of it.
Got it. Oh, it's lit up pretty good on our side, huh? Okay. Now we're on the back side that's lit pretty well. We're still looking west.
High wind warnings.
You're getting a high wind warning?
Oh, yeah. Let's see if we can spin around and get...
Woo!
That's one of the spires there.
Oh, come to Papa. Oh God, that's nice. So when you do you actually take them? By the way, if these warnings are too much for your blood pressure, Jason, just pull the thing back down. It's fine.
So
You've already given us what we need. You're looking down at us now?
That's straight down.
Yeah.
And then we would be...
Yeah, where are we?
We're down here somewhere.
Okay.
It was a bird. So what I'll do is
I'll let you concentrate here for a second.
get a fly line of sight. I can see it up there. It's a little speck up
Oh
there.
yeah, I do.
So backing up.
Okay. Yeah, keep backing. Oh God! Can you talk to us kind of what you? Let's pretend the wind isn't there. Like what are you trying to capture? How?
Yeah, this is a shot I've gotten a few times. It's pretty cool. I'd like to get the. I know it's a little bit out of focus, but I like to get the spires. Oh, hang on, what did we do here? This chaser is it's a little bit too.
God, that is so amazing.
There it goes. It's a good view right there.
It sure is.
Saddle Rock. I like to take panoramic shots, so I would shoot some photos from about here.
Oh, is that how you do it? You
Yeah.
literally just like you're taking a picture.
Yep.
You're just grabbing it like a screen grab
I'm just
almost.
taking photos right now.
Got it. Are you? And can you pull back a bit more? Now I'm getting greedy. Or is it too windy?
Let's see what happens.
This is where I've gotten into trouble before, where I'm like looking at the screen, go, "Can you do this?" And then finally they just go, "F you."
As long as we have line of sight, I can still see the drone up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, you like that line of sight?
Yeah, it's actually required.
Oh, that's a third guy I've been with flying drones. Never heard that one before.
So there's another shot.
Oh. 44 million year old. So when you're looking at this geologically, that's magma that intruded into a bunch more sedimentary material like sandstones and shales. But all that sandstones and shales are eroded. They're gone. I just said that word for you, Jason. Erosion. Oh yeah, you're looking. Julie, can you still see it? I can't either.
Right over the spire.
Oh, there's people right up there on the horizon. Can you see them? Oh. There's a couple silhouettes of some hikers right between the two knobs. Declined to call, sorry. Somebody tried to call me. How about if you feel like you've got what you want up there, can you swing south and go into some of this lit stuff kind of to your left? Are we still enough line of sight for that? I think we're good now, Julie.
better,
Yeah, let's. Yep, thank you. I think wherever you want to go, really. But I'm going to get around. See the light behind you. Pretty nice. Questions for Jason or Julie? What are those stair steps on the inside of one of the... Those are just some trails. I think those are... I'm not sure what you're asking about, sorry. What's the best time? When do you like to fly your drone the best?
Early morning.
Early morning. Because of...
The lighting's better.
Yep.
Or the golden hour.
Oh, I can hear it now. Hank, what the fuck? Sorry, camera work terrible. Gizmo's got a mind of its own.
Can you track it?
Maybe you can track if I get.
So,
Oh yeah. Okay.
saves us from a hike.
Yeah. Oh, you're going over that spire, yeah. I don't know, you guys want to walk up that trail? I mean, I've totally thrown my plan out the window because of all these things popping up here. Yeah, we need the blanket again. No, yes.
Blanket?
Sure, thank you, Julie.
I tried.
That's nice, Jason.
Yeah, the iPad doesn't have the greatest.
This way again?
Yeah. Great. Good, thank you. No, that's spectacular. And so these pinnacles, I call them the Wenatchee. Oh, that's a beauty. These Wenatchee pinnacles, they kind of look like they've always stood there like that. But remember, 44 million years ago, they're intruding into sedimentary rock that's down deep. I mean, we're looking at an intrusion of liquid into bedrock, and the soft bedrock has since that time crumbled away. It's not even really an uplift story, I don't think. I think it's just a differential erosion story. And these harder igneous squirts, essentially, are remaining. That's a winner. Okay. I think we need to move on to something else. You can keep flying if you want, or whatever feels good to you. And I think, in case we lose each other, I want to, let's see, can I get out of the wind a little bit? Maybe not. No, we'll just stay right here. No, it's better out of the wind over here. So we're approaching the top of the hour, and I think I want to do some live Q&A with you right now. And then those that want to stick around, we'll hike up that diagonal trail, at least a ways. And I think we might lose each other cell coverage wise, but there's a chance we'd be able to reconvene up there by that spire. People are thanking you, Julie. Jason, do you have a recommendation for an entry-level drone?
I would get a non-GPS drone at first, learn how to control it. A cheap one, probably from Walmart or Target, believe it or not, would be a good starter. Just to learn the function, the controls, the way it handles the wind. And then after that, probably step up to a GPS drone, which this is. DJI is a good brand, Autel's a good brand. They're all about the same now. This one's a bit outdated, but I like it. I would definitely recommend a non-GPS drone at first.
Okay. I forgot he's on the back of the phone, so you couldn't hear him very well. He recommends a non-GPS drone to start with. You can get them actually at Walmart or an equivalent store. DJI, and another brand, Autel. Give that a try. If you got questions for Julie, we'll work her in as well. What other questions do you have here? How long does the battery last, Jason?
25 minutes.
20.
Average.
Let's just do this. More questions for Jason here. 25 minutes for one battery?
Approximately, yeah, depending on the wind and how you're flying. About 25 minutes. I've gotten 30, as little as 15.
Okay. Julie, what grade level do you teach and how long have you been working there?
At Valley Academy, oh boy, a long time, like maybe 10 years since my own boys went there. And the kids are 4th through 8th grade. It's kind of an alternative school where we have kids who sign up for certain classes. And so I teach geology once a week for an hour.
Nice.
And so then they go home and work on things on their own. And this is really a switch to have them all at home.
Oh gosh.
But now their whole classroom is outside. So I'm just trying to take advantage of that and send them out to take hikes and look for stuff.
We have an advantage here for sure, don't we? More for these guys. Why line of sight, Jason? Wireless connection or other?
The connection's called OcuSync. I don't exactly know what that means, to be honest. Line of sight is required by the FAA. If you were to lose it, you could bring it back easily.
Julie, do you teach only geology?
No, geology, scientific illustration, environmental studies.
Geology, scientific illustration, scientific studies, or environmental studies?
Environmental studies and zoology.
Zoology. Okay. What's the maximum altitude you can fly at?
400 feet above ground level?
You're pretty good about that?
Of course.
The camera's on, man. Of course you got to say
course.
that. Nice. What if you tried to go... A dumb question. Forget it. I don't want to get you in trouble. I have already thanked Julie for holding the blanket. I will do it again. Julie, thank you for holding the blanket.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm good at that.
You're good at holding blankets. Both of you guys, what's your favorite thing about Wenatchee? Julie, I don't know, you want to be too close to us, I guess, but do you want to be over there so they can see you a little better?
My favorite thing about Wenatchee is this trail we're on right now. It's just so easy to get here, and it's just beautiful all year long. Whatever the weather, snow, sometimes mud. That's the only downside is the mud, but the rest of the year it's just wonderful. Flowers and
So you're up here multiple times a month?
every day.
Every day?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was here this morning, and so when I saw that you were right here, I mean, this trail this is my trail. So
Okay.
it's just a really cool, like
Yeah.
everything came together,
Yeah.
and I was on the computer, working, and it was kind of surreal. Honestly.
You're like, that's Jason, my God. How about you, Jason? What do you like about living
The
here?
4 seasons.
Yeah.
The climate, obviously, the outdoor activities you can do. No traffic from the west side, so that's a big one. The river, just everything about it. If you're an outdoors person, this is the place to be. 300 days of sunshine, they say.
Sign me
Beautiful
up.
area.
Couple more questions and we're going to take a walk. What's the name of this trail? Is there a name?
Julie's Trail.
Julie's Trail.
No, it doesn't have a name. We call this the dinosaur back. My nephew named it that a long time ago because it kind of looks like the back of a brontosaurus.
Yeah, yeah.
So we still, just in my family, we call it the dinosaur back.
Dinosaur
And
trail.
the saddle rock, and right below would be the stirrup. So you could call this the stirrup
Okay.
of the saddle. Yeah, there's Rooster Comb is right over there.
Yeah. That's a pretty conventional name, right? I think
Yeah.
on maps and everything. Okay. I think we're gonna walk. Do you want to walk, or you want
Sure.
to? What are we leaving? We're leaving. I guess I'm not leaving much. I don't.
Your other backpack.
Yeah.
Are you still recording?
Yeah. So I think I'll sign off here, and those that want to take a little walk with us, we're going to do that. Easily the most discombobulated episode, but hopefully you've maybe enjoyed that part of it. I feel, since it was so scattered, I want to reaffirm a few of the basic things I wanted to cover in this episode. I'm going to step into a little bit more protection here, and then we'll take a little walk. Hi, you guys. So to review, what I really was hoping to do here with a bunch more maps and things, but I think in past live streams I've covered this a fair amount. So maybe if you're loyal, you've already kind of made sense of some of this. We have magmas here in the Wenatchee area that are easy to see. Topographically, they actually pop out and make these pinnacles. But they're also too old for the Cascades. And so to simply say we have magma, the igneous rock here in the Wenatchee area that's a result of Cascade volcanism, we're just a little too far, we're just too far east. It's just a little smidge too far. And I guess there's a chance we'll still be able to kind of rope these into the earliest days of the Cascades if there's enough chemistry and mapping done. But my hunch is this is more of a Challis Magmas story. So with that said, Challis versus Cascades means we're older, means we're extensional as opposed to compressional, means we have magmas coming up here at the same time as Liberty, as the same time as magmas, Grand Coulee Dam, Northern Washington, Kamloops up in BC, all the way east into the Dakotas. So to me, that's the exciting new approach to viewing some of these igneous rocks. And look for new geologic work by Andrew and others, perhaps in the next decade, to flesh this out. Plus, we've got retired, well-renowned geologist Ralph Hagerud living right at the base of Castle Rock. He's in retirement age, but maybe he'll contribute to some of these and others as well. So, a toast to you and a thank you for joining us. And a special reminder that the next live stream we're doing, I don't have my schedule, is Saturday morning, June 6th, 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be back here in Wenatchee talking about these same places, but through the eyes and being of Randy Lewis, a very special person, a very wise person, and we are honored that he has time to spend with us Saturday morning. Look for that live stream, and Sunday morning I'll be back home talking about the San Andreas Fault in the backyard. Here's to you and your health. Here's to health of your parents and your grandparents. My water bottle handy over there. No, it's all the way over there. Forget it. Here's to the health of everyone that's in your family and your circle. And I thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining us tonight from Wenatchee. Thank you for sticking to the end. Best wishes to you. We'll see you Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I love you. Goodbye. Hey everybody, welcome back. All right, so let's go. I'm turning you around. So here's the warning. I'm probably going to lose you. We're going to do this trail. Turn. Let me turn. Let me frickin' turn. What's going on here? Finally, thank you. We're going to do this trail. You can see it winding up, and it's quite steep. If you're a nervous person, maybe not for you to stay with us. I'm a sure-footed person, and if I feel it's a little bit too much for me, or if I'm huffing and puffing too much, then I'll just stop and we'll enjoy the view and go back. But I'd like to get up there close to that spire and sign off our live stream from there. I know you're with me now, but there's a chance that I'll be without you most of that trail. I really don't know until I get over there, but we'll just hope for the best. Plus, this is all bonus coverage anyway, isn't it? Okay. I'm gonna... Oh, it is?
It's a little loose, and that spot, that bare spot, has somebody tried to make some steps through there, so you can do it.
Okay.
It's better if it's not so dry, but
Okay.
you can do it just.
I'll be conservative, and I'm no problem about turning around. Do you want to come over?
I'm gonna say hi to the family real quick.
Oh, your family's there. Well, let's go say hi to them.
I'm going to sign off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Nice meeting you.
To get to see you live in person is just so cool. So thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. All right.
I'm going to have my students watch.
Oh, good. You bet. You do that. All right. Good night, Julie. Thanks again for holding the blanket. What is up with this frickin'? I'm having trouble with my gizmo at the moment. Hang on. I really don't know what. All right, and now turning. Okay. Hello, you guys. How are you?
Daughter Chloe.
Nice to meet you. How often do you go out with this guy and do some photography? You don't?
I don't. It's his thing.
And what's your thing? What do you do?
Robotics.
Nice. Oh yeah, I heard about you. So you have some. Well, Jason was telling me. Yeah. So there's competitions with your robotics teams, and have you been doing something during the virus with that?
No, right now I'm packing up kits so I can get some kits to some of the kids during the summer so that they can work on it during the summer.
Nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
Can't do anything else right now.
Yep. And how about you, young lady? I hear you're just graduating from high school.
Valedictorian.
Oh, all right. Congratulations. Sorry about the, well, I don't know. Have you had some kind of celebration of some sort? Official? Tomorrow?
Graduation, yep.
What is the plan? How's this going to work?
Well, I mean, there's going to be a scooter. It's a scooter tradition where we scooter down the street to the high school. And then we're going to grab and go, breakfast and picture, and then later at night watch the virtual graduation.
Oh, nice. Good. And you're headed where next year?
University of Arizona.
In Tucson.
Yes.
Well, not anybody can get into that school, so you must be pretty sharp.
Honors engineering.
Oh my God. Wonderful. Well, you can come on a little walk with us if you
We
want.
just dropped off the important stuff,
Okay.
and we're going to head back.
Okay, well, it's really nice to meet you both.
Nice meeting you.
I wish I could get this gizmo to work. Okay, great. Thanks for coming up. All right. They made a delivery, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know Julie, by the way?
No. I was shocked when one person went down and two came back. The beauty of it.
Right. All right, well, Julie said it's kind of sketchy, so maybe I won't make everybody super nervous, but we'll head a little ways. I'm just curious how much we're going to keep with our cell coverage here. Oh, there's Julie right over there. All right, so we still have over 700. Oh, in and out. Okay. Well, we'll try it. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind kind of just keeping me posted a little bit on quality. And I guess it'd be kind of dumb to do this if we're totally cut off. Oh, good report so far. I'm surprised. I thought it was down to hardly any footage here. So I'll stop talking now and just let you enjoy walking here. There's a lot of loess up here. I don't see much ash. Wish I could tell you about the plants. Liz isn't here. You're still here, huh? Great. Some cricket sounds for you. God, will I ever learn how to drive this thing? I need a break, old Jason.
Yeah.
Our vehicles are down there in the... What the heck? Those aren't all hikers down there, are they?
They are.
Seriously?
Yeah. About 3 times the amount of cars.
What in the world? That
Popular.
parking lot is full. What was it like during the heart of the pandemic? Were people still coming out here?
Same.
Same.
Yep. Once the weather turned nice, it was full every day.
Wow. If you've got great eyes, you can see down to the river. There's a big white tower. The kind of river's flowing behind it. Do you see that white tower? Just to the right of the White Tower is the black bridge that old Bing Crosby crossed with Al. They were coming from that side of the river to this side of the river, the old Sunset Highway. The light's nice. I don't know if it's anything to write home about, but it's nice. You ready to head back? Let's see what we got up ahead. What's the temperature, Jason?
Right now,
Roughly.
72.
72 with a slight breeze. Oh, there's muffler boys down there, believe me. Get us up to the rhyolite. You want to get up there, huh? You're challenging me now? Looks like there's a... Yeah, but check it out. There's some rhyolite here. 44 million years old, no big deal. Like a boss right between the eyes. Here's a It's a small portion of Saddle Rock. Jason, you were commenting these spires kind of look like Bryce Canyon to you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
The shape.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, totally different kind of rock. This is volcanic and it's sedimentary down there in Bryce, but
Especially right through here.
yeah, same kind of, same kind of spires, same kind of pillars, whatever your word is. Whatever your word of the day is.
Spire.
All right, we got to finish this out now. Am I holding you up? You got to get, is it your bedtime, Jason?
Way past.
Way past. Okay. All right. That's the wrap it up side.
I don't work tomorrow.
You don't work tomorrow? Okay. TGIF for Jason. Still got more than 700 of you. That's kind of great. Well, we'll see what kind of view we have up here on the shoulder, on the south shoulder of Saddle Rock. I appreciate you viewers being willing to kind of improvise here. I mean, what choice do you have except to turn it off? So, oh yeah, this is nice. Oh, this is worth it. Honest to God, look at these people. Look at this.
No wind.
No wind. Crap, we should have been over here. Just kidding.
The drone spot.
Why? No, it turned out just great. So I'm swinging a little bit south, and much of that rhyolite there's some old pits. I don't know anything about gold and the industry of extracting gold, but that little valley is basically a reclaimed pit of some sort, and this is all now public land, as you can see, heavily used by the locals. I'm so impressed with how many people are out here. And then why are this hill so smooth? It's not a glacier story. I would say it's mostly because it's soft sedimentary rock. My wife occasionally comes over here with me and she said, this reminds me of Pocatello. She grew up in Pocatello, Idaho. It's the same kind of scale of the ridges, the same kind of wrinkled look of the ridges, and those are sedimentary, actually meta-sedimentary rocks making up the Portneuf Valley walls. Now you're up close and personal. You can even see some of the pink and a good sense that we're looking at rhyolite here. This isn't, Patrick, this isn't basalt. I don't know, Patrick, are you in bed now? This isn't basalt, right, Patrick? Evelyn? The erosional pattern's wrong. The look of the rock, look at how kind of mottled it looks. I don't want to go over there. But it's interesting intrusions of rhyolite that have yet to be studied super carefully. I feel I need to include this. There was a tragedy here in the early 1980s. The geologic work that was done here in the late 70s and the early 80s was done by a guy named Randall Greshens. And I don't know much about him, except he had a University of Washington connection. And Randall, I think it was 1982, I'll have to Google it. Randall was with Bates McKee. You know that I've shown you the old Cascadia textbook that I love. Bates also connected to University of Washington Geology. So the two of those guys were here and they died in a plane crash. I guess it was Bates that was piloting, I'm not sure. It was a small aircraft and that airport is here. So hats off to both of those guys, and a tragic short ending to their lives. They would have contributed a lot more to our understanding of geology here, especially in central Washington. But to end on a different note, we now can see the extent of the Pangbourne Bar. That's 600 vertical feet of loose rocks that were dumped there during the Ice Age. Most of them from one enormous flood, 1,000 feet of water moving more than 50 miles an hour through this valley and up to Jason's hat and even above Jason's hat. We're still probably not to 1,600 feet. The top of Saddle Mountain, what did we say, 19 something? So we're close to the high water mark of the biggest Ice Age flood that came down this valley. But you wouldn't know it. It's not dry falls. It's not something else that just hits you over the head as an Ice Age flood's place. But that's because this is mostly a deposits story. You're looking at a nice shot of this valley that was filled substantially by hundreds of feet of rocks from the north that were brought in quickly by one Missoula flood 18,000 years ago. And then when the Okanagan lobe crept south and approached the Waterville Plateau, this area was cut off from any Ice Age flooding until that Okanagan lobe broke up 14,000 years ago, and one last significant flood came down this valley. I think that's enough for tonight. So glad that you could join us. So glad that this mostly worked streaming-wise, and I hope that you tune in for part 2 of this Wenatchee geology lesson Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. Over and out from Saddle Rock, Wenatchee, Washington, USA. I love you. Goodbye. And Jason, I love you too. And Julie.